For today's Game Wisdom 2022 Best of Awards, we are going to the adventure category. For all the pointing and clicking you would like to do, or clicking and pointing, we don't judge around here. So when it comes to adventure games, it is a genre that may have been overlooked by the Game Awards, but we certainly have some winners here. Alright, this is Future Josh coming in with a different, it could have been contender award for the adventure genre. Because I forgot about a game that came out and why it's a really good reason it couldn't make it for this list. So that is Burnhouse Lane. This is the latest game from Harvester, the maker of the Cat Lady. A very deeply disturbing and great adventure game that is certainly not for kids, or for a loving family adventure, as I'm recording this during the holidays. But Burnhouse Lane came out just at the end of 2022, and unfortunately I did not get a chance to play it. I do want to play it soon, but if you are looking for a game that is again going to be on the dark and not so family-friendly side, then this could be one worth checking out. And for our honorable mention for the adventure game category, that is going to be Sucker for Love. A game I am fairly sure that every one of you watching this forgot that A, it existed, and B, it came out this year. Right at the start in January, what seems like, 4 years ago, I think, by our current metrics. But Sucker for Love was kind of like an adventure/visual novel game that dared to ask the question, if Cthulhu was a hot woman, would you try to date them? And it turns out the answer was yes, as many people loved the concept when it was in the DreadX collection, and they enjoyed the release of it. This is by no means the most complicated either visual novel or adventure game on the market, but it certainly has a ton of charm to it. And the concept definitely unveiled itself as you went through the kind of 3 main chapters. I really enjoy when it kind of got into more of the critical thinking and challenging aspects of the game's finale. And I hope if we do see a sequel, DLC, expansion, whatever, that we kind of see more like the depth that was presented at the end of the game and kind of grow from there. Again, this is not going to be the adventure or visual novel game for everybody. But if you're looking for a cute, charming, Cthulhu-ing adventure game, I would at least give this one a check. For number 3 on my list, it is Lucy Dreaming. Lucy Dreaming is an adventure game definitely in the style of, Monkey Island, kind of the classic golden age of LucasArts style, where you will use your own critical thinking skills and a lovely list of verbs in order to solve the puzzles and get through the story. And the story of Lucy Dreaming is definitely interesting, and I can guarantee you that every one of you watching this right now will not be able to predict where it goes. The challenge of the game has to do with the fact that you're dealing with both the, real world logic of the game, as well as with the dream logic as you go into Lucy's dreams. And definitely some very creative puzzles, but I did have to look up a few solutions here and there. Especially for one puzzle that, for anyone who knows me and who did beat the game, you will know exactly what puzzle I got stuck at. But still, a fantastic game if you're looking for a very challenging, old-school adventure game. So let's move on to number 2, and that is the Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. Unfortunately, we did not get a Watchet Eye developed adventure game in 2022, but we did get one that was published by them. And Hobbs Barrow really leans in this kind of almost like a gothic horror from one of those many anthology stories we had from the 70s, I think into the 80s or 90s. You are arriving in a mysterious village to investigate, Hobbs Barrow. And standing your way are nightmarish visions, mysterious villagers, and of course, point-and-click adventure puzzles. The game is told linearly over the course of several days as you must complete various tasks, learn more about what's going on, and kind of get that sense that something is not quite right in this town. One of the things that this game does really well that I hope other adventure games will kind of carry on is it has a really great sense of style and presentation. There are some really lovely or lovingly disturbing cutscenes in this game. Nothing that is like super violent or things like that, but it does lend into like the creepy factor of the horror surroundings. I'm not sure they use rotoscoping or not for it, but some of them, especially near the end of the game, are really quite well done. In terms of puzzle difficulty, the game kind of leans on the, I would say, easy medium side until the very end, where it does get a little challenging. Much like with Lucid Dreaming, there is one puzzle that I had to just outright look up a solution to because I was not solving it. But this is a really entertaining game. It's one that, if you like adventure games, you can probably get through in a weekend, and it has a very great story. And I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a little bit more, I guess, creepiness with your point and clicking. And for number 1 on my adventure game list of 2022, that is going to go to Brock the Investigator. This is it is an adventure beat 'em up, a click 'em up, point and fight, however you want to describe it. But this is a adventure game that combines beat 'em up gameplay that presents a very interesting and somewhat dark and disturbing story involving the lovable detective who's also an alligator known as Brock, taking place in a looks like dystopian future meets Animal Farm, where animal humanoids are living, dying, and, well, getting into trouble. And it's up to him to solve cases, try to make peace with his adopted son, and deal with some very tragic scars of the past. So the game itself splits itself between the beat 'em up and point and click, that you at any time can go into beat 'em up mode. So if you want to solve a puzzle using logic and figuring things out, you can do that. If you just want to kick and uppercut a console and just break through it, you can do that as well. And the game offers several ways of getting around different situations. There's also hint tokens that you can find to provide you with more advice. And the game has had some updates since I reviewed this one earlier this year to make combat a little bit more refined. Now, is this going to be the next Streets of Rage? Probably not. But the game presents a very interesting mix of systems. And I do like how the title kind of allows you to pick and choose, but a lot of that is also based on what kind of morality or ending you want to do. You can ignore all fighting, you can ignore all puzzles, but how you decide what Brock will go into any situation with will effectively determine what ending you're going to get, as well as what your path through the game will be. If you want to focus more on the beat 'em up and action gameplay, you'll find a relatively entertaining kind of beat 'em up style game. If you want to just play for the puzzles, you can do that as well. And it's a very, again, interesting combination that I know we haven't seen something like this, at least at this level, done before. And it's definitely for that reason that the game gets the number 1 spot this year. If you are looking for an adventure game that is really different, again, it's far more action suited than you might think, I would definitely check out Brock the Investigator. And definitely a thumbs up to the developer for coming up with such an interesting concept. So that is going to do it for the adventure genre. Of course, let me know what you think down below. Do the liking and subscribing as well. Check out the Discord and Patreon if you want to yell at me about my various picks. Come back for the discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. And I will see everyone for the next award.